Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Bryce from Susquehanna Valley High School, and we're going to solve any quadratic equation that has real answers by following a few steps. We're doing completing the square. This is completing the square. So step one, make sure the number in front of the x squared is a 1. If not, then divide everything by that number, making it a 1, making the number in front of the x squared into a 1, because anything divided by itself is 1. Number two, don't worry, we're going to go over an example as soon as I'm done explaining all the steps. Write down what a equals, that's the number in front of the x squared, what b equals, that's the number in front of the x, what half of b is, and what half of b squared is. These last two are key to solving the equation, as can be seen with this graphic. Okay, what I have here is the standard area model of a quadratic equation. As you know, x times x is x squared, so this area is here. And how big is this area right here? Well, that is x times b, and often we just call it bx. So that's the area. So what am I going to do to complete the square? What I did was I just cut this rectangle, I just cut b in half. So what we have here are two that have exactly the same area as this rectangle here. That was the original one. Swing it out. So if this whole thing is b, and I chopped it in half right here, this little piece is now 1/2 of b. And I'm going to take this one here, swing it around, and look at that. It fits right there because this was a square, x high and x wide. So now I've got this little piece here that I want to complete. I want to complete the square. So this piece, remember, this is half of b, so the height must also be 1/2 b. I've added on this little piece. So now we have x plus half of b and x plus half of a b. And we have this 1/2 of b shaped square. That's why this 1/2 b squared is very important. Step 3, subtract the constant, the number without any x's, so that the equation now looks like x squared plus bx equals a number. So here we have x squared plus bx is going to equal a number. And I'm not going to call it c because it actually has the opposite value of c. Step number 4. Now we're going to add that little square into the corner by completing the big square. So I add 1/2 b squared to both sides of the equation. That's called the additive property of equality. Remember, no matter what I do to an equation, if I add something to the left and something to the right, it's still going to be equal, so it's balanced. I didn't change anything. Even though I made the area larger, I also made whatever it equaled to larger also, because we're adding it to both sides of the equation. Step number 5. The factored form will always look like this. X plus 1/2 b times x plus 1/2 b equals a number. We went over several examples in class. However, we like to write it as x plus 1/2 b squared equals the number, because that follows right into step 6. Solve for x by taking the square root of both sides. Remember, it's a positive and negative value. Then we have a simple equation that we can solve. So now let's go over an example. We're solving 2x squared minus 16x minus 20 equals 0. Step number 1. Make sure that the number in front of the x squared is a 1. If not, then divide everything by that number, making it a 1. If there was a number over here, I would also divide it by 2. So 0 divided by 2 is 0. Let's take a look at step number 2. Write down what a equals, b equals, 1/2 of b, and 1/2 b squared equals. A equals 1. B equals -8. 1/2 of negative 8 is negative 4, and 1/2 of negative 8 squared is 16. Step number 3, subtract the constant number. Now, I'm subtracting negative 10, so subtracting a negative number is just adding a positive. So I have x squared minus 8x equals positive 10. That way, x squared plus bx equals some number. Step number 4, now we're going to add that little square into the corner here, completing the square, making it a whole square. So remember, that's what we're adding. So x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals 10 plus 16. Well, I could have written 26. Now, step number 5. We went over lots of problems in class, and we discovered the fact that that part right there is always going to look like x plus half of b. b was negative 4 squared. Now you can check and you can distribute this and find out that yes, two numbers, a number that multiplies to be positive 16 and adds up to negative 8, negative 4 times negative 4. It works with the Xbox method. It works with completing the square. So the last step, solve for x. Take the square root of both sides. X minus 4 equals the positive and negative values of the square root of 26. Now, we still don't have x by itself. We add 4 to both sides. X equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 26. That is both of our solutions. If you have any questions, make sure you ask me in class. See you tomorrow.